Hey guys, in this video I want to talk about something that I feel is quite important in the design community. Now, you're about to see a lot of design trend videos occurring, and there's going to be a lot of design influencers telling you what trends to look out for 2022. And I'm here to tell you that you shouldn't be really paying attention to any of that, because as a designer, you shouldn't be following design trends. And in this video, I'm going to explain why. Now, in my 14 years of being a designer, doing multiple logo designs and branding, I have never followed a design trend. Now, why is that? Because a design trend is the end, okay? If you're following design trends, or if you're interested in design trends, all they really focus on is the end result. For example, if someone tells you that gritty texture is in, or minimalism is in, or motion is in, or vintage is in, or natural textures is in, it's really not. Because at the end of the day, those are unique, bespoke qualities, okay? If you're designing for something, you should be taking consideration into the unique qualities of that product, and only then should you think about the visual design. If that means minimal is good, then you should do it. If it means black and white is good, or vintage is good, then do it. You should never be designing based on design trends, because it's not good design. You're not doing justice to your design. The best way to approach a design is to take a brief, understand the brief, understand the unique qualities of that company, business, or product, and what every design should come out of that. You should have good meaning, rationale for whatever design you do. Because if you don't, then it's just arbitrary and it's going to look like everything else. Design trends only encourage arbitrary design or ubiquitous design. Design that looks the same. Now, as a designer, answer me this. Do you really want to create something based on a design trend that looks like everything else? Now, of course, there are social trends, cultural trends, design in the 90s, 80s, and 70s all looked and had a very particular style because of the cultural changes at the time. However, what you must keep in mind is that the design was done first and the trend came after the fact. It was inspired by what was going on at the time. So yes, we can be inspired by cultural trends, but what I'm talking about in this video are visual trends, graphic design trends, where a lot of YouTubers, a lot of influencers will talk about particular visual styles. And I'm saying they're nonsense. You shouldn't really be paying attention to that. Now, it's okay to be aware of them, but you shouldn't be focusing on them. They shouldn't really inspire you, because that's not design. To be a good designer is to take a good design brief, and if you're not given a design brief, you should make one yourself, or there are tools and there are ways of making a good design brief. Brand strategy is what the biggest design trend should be this year. Strategy. I don't hear that being spoken a lot of in the design community, okay? Strategy is really important. It was important 50 years ago, and it will be important in another 50 years. These are just principles of design which will never change, okay? Things like anti-design. These are just phases, okay? Now, they look cool and they're great, but you can't just slap a style on something, because it just becomes ubiquitous and meaningless. If it's appropriate, then fine. If it meets the unique qualities of a company, business, or product to do so, then fine. But just doing it for the sake of doing it, that's lazy design, guys, all right? That's all it is. It's just lazy design. And as I said before, in my 14 years of experience, I've never followed a design trend, and I never will. Because why would I do that? I'm a designer. I like to design. I like to come up with ideas based on a solid brief. So I'm here to just put out my opinion, and I just want to say that these design trend videos, they're informative, but they happen every year, and every time I watch them, I feel, well, it's nonsense. You could have said the same thing last year, and you can say the same thing next year. Movement, animation, that was cool 5 years ago. It's just a thing that you do these days, okay? Every time I design a logo, I create motion. I've been doing it for years. Why wouldn't you do it? It's just something that you do. Minimalism, it's clear, it's practical. You just do it. Back in the 90s, we saw a lot of drop shadows and bevels on logos. Why was that? Because Photoshop brought out a program where at a click of a button, you could add effects. And you don't see that today because it's bad design. Technical trends do influence us. Tomorrow, augmented reality and virtual reality might be a thing. And that's going to influence the way we approach these technical platforms. The iPhone, when that came out, websites changed, apps changed, logos changed because they were seen small. So technical trends do influence our design, but remember what I'm saying here, guys. Keep it in mind, I'm talking about visual trends here, okay? So bottom line, you shouldn't be paying attention to design trends. You should be paying attention to your design brief. Think of the design brief, come up with good ideas and meaning first, before you even think about design. Too much happening in the design community about the end result. I'm not seeing enough about design process, okay? Not enough about design process. I'm advocating design process, okay? Tell me, do you agree with me or do you disagree with me? I'd love to hear your comments. Tell me what you think in the comment section. Let's have a conversation about this. So do you agree that we should not pay attention to design trends? Because I don't, and I never will, because I think to pay attention to design trends is thinking too much about the end result before we tackle the problem, the actual problem. Every design problem has a different solution. You can't take a design trend and just force it into a creative problem, okay? Design briefs are like maths equations, okay? 1 + 1 = 2, okay? The next design brief might be 75 minus 45. It requires a different result. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that every design challenge that you face will be different, okay? And the end result will be different. So you can't take a design trend and just force it on because it won't be relevant. So tell me, guys, what do you think? Do you agree with me or do you not? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. So let me know and I'll see you in the next video.